And even if I go to jail, I'm going to go to jail with my head held high, and I won't let you down. I'm now facing 5 charges under national security, espionage type charges, and a lifetime imprisonment. I've been in Perth for 24 hours, not even. Had a very good screening last night, and I had a good radio interview with Liam Bartlett on 6PR. And I want to thank him because it's the only major radio interview I've done in the 5 years of being on trial, which is interesting because the media don't really want to give me a run. But Liam Bartlett did. He gave me a very good run, and I'm very grateful for that. My name's Major David McBride. I used to be an army officer in the Australian Army. Before that I was an army officer in the British Army. In the British Army I was a regular officer, short service in the cavalry. In the Australian Army I was a legal officer. I'm now facing 5 charges under national security, espionage type charges, and a lifetime imprisonment. The reason that is because I gave documents to media service which I believed showed that everything was not right in the Defence Force. In fact, we were habitually lying to the public about the conduct of the war. I felt that's wrong. I still do. We're going to go to trial next week, and we're going to see what happens.
You mentioned some of the motivation, or you might have been at a low point, I believe, or something, and then you saw the ghosts of Anzacs, or this. Can you just describe that again for?
Yeah, it's very hard being a whistleblower in the sense that you lose your identity. You're suddenly not part of the team. You're out there on your own, but it's mainly the loneliness which gets to you. And you do a lot of thinking. You get a lot of thinking on your own, a lot of pacing about what am I going to do next. I knew I was going to do something, but then how to play it, because it's a real maze when you're up against a big organisation and it's just you. The police could come at any time, and so you might not have much time to do what you're going to do in regards to speaking to press and trying to, because you might see the press and they're going to say, what's your evidence? That's not good enough. Can you get me more, etc.? And it's back and forth, but before you know it, you could be arrested or you could die in some sort of misadventure. So it's quite a difficult game of chess in your head. So I did a lot of pacing, and often I never actually saw in reality, but it was close to. In the back of my garden, I could imagine staring out of the shadows these figures, which like what I imagined the Anzacs from the First World War, in their uniforms with mud on their faces and blood and kind of strange dead look in their eyes, like they were not completely dead but not completely alive. And they just look at you and just look, and that's all it took. That's all it really took to get me going. It was an SAS soldier looking at me. They didn't have to say anything. But if you're a professional soldier and you take things seriously, all someone has to do, someone who's got your respect, just has to look at you, and you know what you have got to do, and you know what they are saying to you. And I felt the ghost of the Anzacs was saying, you need to stand up, buddy. It's not any kind of excuse to say it's hard or it's going to take a toll on your family. You're not going to get promoted. You need to do this, and you need to do it for us. And that's all it took, was a look. And it's those people that I answer to. It's a hard business, but only by doing hard things do we let to live an easy life in this country.
And I mean, you're doing this because, I mean, look, correct me if I'm wrong, but you love your country, right? I mean, in the military and...
I took it seriously, yeah. I had a very privileged background, but I took the bullshit seriously. I grew up on war movies. I grew up on the idea that to die for your country is a particularly honourable thing. I went to Oxford University. I was a lawyer. I took a lot of oaths about being a lawyer. I took a lot of oaths about being a soldier. I took them seriously, and I can't imagine, I was quite surprised that some people apparently didn't. It was not a joke to me. When I swore on the Bible and held up my hand in front of the Australian flag, it fucking meant something. And it did not mean you just dug your own soldiers for the sake of a promotion. That is exactly what you were not meant to do. And the idea that other people did it just sickened me. I have a bit of an Old Testament God, and I believe that you needed to do something about it. And the idea that you would betray your vow for self-promotion, I mean, that's treason to me. I know it's considered by some to be very oldly worldly, but it's if you don't believe that, you've got no place being in a military, carrying a weapon and going to a place where you might be killed as part of your day job. If you don't actually have that kind of strong Viking style belief, you're not much good as a soldier. And if you do have that kind of belief, you're quite happy to stand up for concepts like honour and truth and duty. I joined the British Army in 1987. So it was early, but the Berlin Wall was still up. I went to, as part of NATO, I was a tank gunner to begin with, before I went to Sandhurst, out on the Iron Curtain, Germany, borders of East and West Germany. I went to Berlin. My first proper tour of duty was Northern Ireland. I was on the streets of Northern Ireland in the early 90s, which was still quite dangerous. The IRA blew up some people in my unit, and it was only a matter of luck that it wasn't me. One platoon was going down one street, my platoon was going down the other street, bomb went off, and then the casualties, and that was a clever thing, there was another bomb hidden in the gatepost, and when the people came to give first aid to the first people who were killed, the second bomb went off. So pretty hideous kind of thing. We had to go there and clean up our friends, and it was pretty hard. At the time, the IRA also had a 50 caliber sniper rifle, and they could have killed people without anyone even knowing where the direction was firing from. So it was a difficult time. After that, I worked in what is euphemistically called security consultancy in Africa, diamond mines. I worked in Rwanda, getting people to safety. At the time of the massacre in 1994. I worked in various other places around the world doing security work for a documentary. The first time I went to Afghanistan was doing a documentary. We also went to Pakistan, Iran. So I've been around. I know my way around a weapon, and I know my way around military ethos. It's hard for soldiers to talk about it because it is so different to the normal world, and things that a proper soldier, a decent soldier, takes for granted and doesn't talk about much, are a world away from the civilian world. So and anyone that does talk about it too much, a real professional soldier will have suspicions about them. Anyone that writes a book sort of like I'm the world's toughest man is generally, a phony. But so it's hard for me to talk about it. But from basic training onwards, there is no doubt about it. A real soldier is prepared to die for what he believes in, and he's prepared to work very hard, and he's also prepared to kill other people, of course. And it's a pretty serious business, and you can send soldiers to their death, and actually as an officer you have to be able to get grown men, maybe twice your age, with families. You must be able to instill them with a sense of duty where they don't abandon their posts and they all face death together. That's a pretty big responsibility for a 23-year-old. But you've got to be able to do it. So it's a special type of person, and they do deserve a certain kudos, but they're not the sort of people who fold easily, and they're not the sort of people who just give up on things. That's not part of it. Some of I guess it distinguishes. Some of my contemporaries think I'm pretty nuts, but that for me, that's an indicator that they were never, if they don't understand the concept of duty and standing up and doing whatever it takes to get justice, they weren't real officers, because that is exactly what it's about. And so I'm proud of who I am, but I can understand that it's, I'm considered an anachronism by some people, but this is what I grew up with, and I know people, much better people than me, that sacrifice their lives in order to stand up for what is right, or do the right thing on the battlefield, etc. I don't see myself as any different, and I certainly don't feel that I can let them down by just saying, oh, it's all too hard, or I can't win this battle, or whatever. You've got to do what you've got to do.
You know, if you could speak that one sentence to them, or a couple sentences, what would you say to them?
I always thank the people of Australia. I have grown to love this country at a deeper level than I ever thought possible, because so many ordinary Australians have come out and supported me and get me, send me money and say nice things about it. And I love that, and I just want to thank them, from the bottom of my heart, because it means the world to me. I might not have made this. I could have easily died. I've been close to it a few times, but the support that I've got from Australians has really kept me going. And even if I go to jail, I'm going to go to jail with my head held high, and I won't let you down.
Okay, I'm going back to Sydney now. I face trial in 5 days. Stay tuned. Look for the underground media about what's going on, and I'll see you on the other side. Come back here and continue the fight in Perth to free this state.
And even if I go to jail, I'm going to go to jail with my head held high. And even if I go to jail, I'm going to go to jail with my head held high.
There we go.
Alright, so this is a bit more of a sobering video. This is one we're recording in case the outcome isn't what we want it to be.
Former military lawyer David McBride has been sentenced to 5 years and 8 months jail in the ACT Supreme Court for sharing classified military documents with journalists.
It's titled, "If You're Watching This, I'm Going to Prison." But what would be your message to people in the instance where you have to go to prison?
If you're watching this, I'm in prison. Again, all I can do is thank the supporters. I'm not going to complain. I went into this with my eyes open. I always said I would go to prison with my head held up high, and it may be that I need to go to prison in order to fix this country. We need to look at how this country can pretend that I'm a national security threat when there are so many other things wrong with it. So much bribery, so much corruption, even war criminals that haven't been in jail, and leaders of our completely failed war effort, 20 years, $6 trillion, 41 Australians, good Australian soldiers dead, and no one has had to answer for it except for me, because I have damaged national security. I will sit in jail. I will get stronger in jail. We will build our forces. Plenty of people down through the ages have been in jail and have come out stronger. So don't worry about me. Maybe if you can, if you know my family, if you know my team, extend a helping hand, extend some love to my family. It won't be that easy for my girls, but they're strong girls. And when I tried to explain to them, or my ex-wife Sarah did, to say, you understand Dad might be going to jail, they were like, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, which I just love. They're not scared. They're a chip off the old block, and they are proud of me to not go silent until I'm out. I believe we'll win on appeal. I believe the High Court will eventually have to say that we can't put people in jail for doing their jobs. I was a military lawyer. What do you think my job would be if not to pick up on potential illegal activity within the organisation that I was meant to police? I did my job, put me in jail. My head will be held up high. I may have been a bit emotional when I was sentenced, but I can assure you, once the dust has settled and the exhaustion is gone, I will look back on this and be so grateful to everybody who supported it. And anyone who supported me, don't think this is a failure. This is a victory. We're going to win this. And when we do finally win it, it will be so, so fucking sweet.
And where down we go, 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 go.
First Australian to go to jail over the alleged war crimes in Afghanistan is the whistleblower that brought the allegations to the public's attention.
Well, there was quite a vocal reaction inside the courtroom from supporters sitting in the public gallery. The judge at one point suggested he might clear the gallery if they didn't quieten down.
McBride pleaded guilty to 3 charges, including theft and sharing more than 200 documents classified as secret with members of the press.
Mr. McBride, of course, was taken away to jail, but
His Honourable duty, Australian military officer, effectively has one meaning, and that is to obey orders. Well, we fundamentally disagree with that.
Good on you, mate. I know you've got this. The truth's got to be on your side. One-term elbow. Drake was a disgrace. We got your back, mate, and thank you for your service. Good luck, mate.
The thought that there is no legal duty, public interest duty, when you're a member of the armed forces, I think should cause all of us to take stock about what are the protections here for the public interest when it comes to Australia's military and any future overseas deployment.
Tonight, I saw my
and the question I have for you, Anthony Albanese, is who do you support?